Imagine your liver at the end of an ordinary day. It has processed breakfast cereal, sweetened coffee, salad dressing, a soft drink, an afternoon snack, and perhaps dessert after dinner. None of those foods seemed extreme, but together, they may have delivered repeated waves of added sugar to an organ that never gets to close for the night. Now remove that added sugar for 14 days. Your liver does not suddenly detox, and stored fat does not disappear overnight. But something important may begin to change surprisingly early. The pressure telling your liver to manufacture and store more fat can start turning down. The question is, when does that biological switch begin? And what must happen for it to stay on? First, we need to define what quitting sugar actually means. It does not mean eliminating every molecule of sugar or carbohydrate from your diet. It does not require avoiding vegetables, plain dairy, beans, or a whole apple, because they contain naturally occurring sugars. For this 14-day experiment, quitting sugar means removing or sharply reducing added sugars, soda, sweet tea, candy, cookies, pastries, sugary breakfast cereals, sweetened yogurt, flavored coffee drinks, and the sugar hidden in sauces, dressings, and packaged snacks. Whole fruit is not the same biological package as a soft drink. Fruit contains water, fiber, vitamins, and a physical structure that slows how quickly you eat and digest it. Fruit juice has lost much of that structure, so it is easier to consume a large sugar dose in a few minutes. Your liver does not read the word natural on the label. It responds to the amount, speed, and total energy arriving from your digestive tract. Many people believe sugar simply travels from the mouth to the belly and becomes belly fat. The real journey is more interesting. Some of the sugar you eat becomes glucose, the fuel circulating in your blood. Another portion, especially from table sugar and common sweeteners, arrives as fructose. Glucose can be used throughout the body. Your brain, muscles, and other tissues all participate. Fructose is handled more heavily by the liver, which makes the size and frequency of the dose especially important. This does not make fructose a poison, nor does it mean one piece of fruit damages your liver. The problem is repeated excess, particularly when sugar arrives in liquid form and adds calories without making you feel very full. A liver receiving more energy than the body needs must decide what to do with the overflow. Some glucose is stored as glycogen, a rapidly available fuel reserve. But that storage space is limited. When energy keeps arriving and immediate demand remains low, the liver can convert some of the excess into fatty acids through a process called de novo lipogenesis, literally, making new fat. Picture your liver as a busy warehouse. Glycogen is stored near the front door, ready for quick delivery. Fat is packed into longer-term storage, or placed into transport vehicles called VLDL particles and sent into the bloodstream. When added sugar keeps arriving, insulin repeatedly signals that fuel is abundant. The warehouse workers spend more time receiving and packing energy, and less time releasing stored fuel. Insulin is often described as a fat storage hormone, but it is not an enemy. It is a vital traffic controller. After you eat, insulin helps move glucose out of the blood and into tissues that can use or store it. The problem arises when the signal is called upon too often and the tissues become less responsive. The pancreas may release more insulin to achieve the same effect. The liver may continue producing glucose when it should be slowing down, while also storing or manufacturing fat. That combination is part of the metabolic conflict behind insulin resistance and fatty liver disease. Now imagine that the added sugar stops. Does the liver immediately open its fat vaults? Not necessarily. If you remove soda but replace it with large servings of white bread, chips, and other calorie-dense foods, your liver may still receive abundant energy. If you replace dessert with butter, processed meat, and oversized portions, total calorie intake may remain high, and saturated fat can still contribute to liver fat. Quitting added sugar changes an important input, but the outcome depends on what takes its place. During the first meal without added sugar, the most immediate change happens before you feel anything. A glass of water instead of soda means a large, rapidly absorbed sugar dose never arrives. Your blood glucose and insulin response may be smaller, depending on the rest of the meal. The liver still receives carbohydrate from potatoes, rice, oats, beans, or fruit, But the delivery is often slower when those foods come with fiber, protein, and intact structure. During the hours after that meal, your liver stores some glucose as glycogen and gradually releases it between meals to keep blood sugar stable. Quitting sugar is not the same as fasting. If you continue eating enough carbohydrate, liver glycogen does not suddenly vanish, ketosis does not automatically begin, and autophagy does not switch on at a magical hour. The first benefit is simpler. You have reduced one source of metabolic overload. By the end of the first day, some people feel unexpectedly hungry. Others feel no different. If sweet foods were part of a familiar routine, the desire for them can appear at the exact time you normally ate them. That sensation is not proof that toxins are leaving your body. It may reflect learned cues, reward pathways, meal composition, and the disappearance of a quick source of energy and pleasure. If breakfast was previously sweet cereal followed by a pastry, replacing both with eggs, plain yogurt, oats, nuts, or another protein and fiber-rich meal may produce a steadier morning. But if you simply skip breakfast and eat very little, fatigue may come from undereating, rather than from quitting sugar. This distinction matters, especially after age 45, when preserving muscle becomes increasingly important. The scale may fall during the first several days, particularly if quitting sugar also lowers your total carbohydrate and calorie intake. Some of that early change can be water. Glycogen is stored with water, so using part of that reserve can lower body weight before a meaningful amount of body fat has disappeared. The liver may be receiving less fuel, but a 2-pound drop on the scale does not mean 2 pounds of liver fat have melted away. As the second and third days pass, the internal competition begins to shift. With fewer large sugar doses, insulin may spend more time closer to its lower between-meal level. That makes it easier for fat tissue to release fatty acids when energy is needed. Your muscles can burn some of those fatty acids, especially if you walk or perform other physical activity. But here is the liver's dilemma. Fatty acids released from body fat can also travel back to the liver. If you respond to sugar cravings by barely eating, sleeping poorly, and pushing through exhausting workouts, stress hormones can rise, and energy release can become more chaotic. More restriction is not always more repair. The goal is not to attack the body. It is to reduce excess incoming fuel, while giving muscles a reason to use the fuel already available. This is why a 10 or 15-minute walk after a meal can matter. Contracting muscles can take up more glucose, reducing the amount that must remain in circulation. Muscle is one of your largest metabolic engines. When it becomes active, the liver no longer has to manage the entire traffic jam by itself. By days 4 through 7, the most important change may still be invisible. The liver's machinery for turning carbohydrate into fat can become less active when the supply of added sugar, particularly large fructose-rich doses, falls. This is not an on-off switch that flips at the same hour for everyone. It is more like lowering the speed of a factory production line. How far the speed falls depends on where you started. Someone who drank several sugary beverages every day removes a much larger load than someone who added 1 teaspoon of sugar to morning coffee. A person with insulin resistance or fatty liver may respond differently from a person whose liver is already lean. Genetics, body weight, alcohol intake, medication, physical activity, sleep, and the foods used as replacements all influence the result. Short controlled research has shown that reducing dietary fructose can lower the liver's production of new fat and reduce liver fat surprisingly quickly in certain high-risk groups. But that does not prove every adult will experience the same change in 9 or 14 days. It tells us something more careful and useful. Liver metabolism can respond within days, even before dramatic weight loss occurs. At this point, your taste perception may also begin changing. Foods that once seemed only mildly sweet can start tasting much sweeter. Cravings may become less frequent for some people, although they rarely disappear in a perfectly straight line. Poor sleep, stress, social events, and familiar smells can bring them back. A craving is not evidence that your body needs candy. It is a signal influenced by biology, memory, environment, and habit. As the second week begins, consider what is happening at the liver cell. Less added sugar is arriving. If total calories have also fallen modestly, the liver has less surplus energy to convert and store. If activity has increased, muscles are creating a larger destination for circulating fuel. If meals contain enough protein and fiber, hunger may be easier to manage, reducing the chance of overeating later. This combination can lower the pressure that favors fat accumulation in the liver. Some stored triglyceride may begin to leave liver cells or be used as fuel. The liver's response to insulin may start improving in people who are insulin resistant. Its output of glucose between meals may become better regulated. Blood triglycerides may also improve in some people, particularly when sugary beverages were a major part of the original diet. Yet you probably cannot feel liver fat changing. Fatty liver disease is often silent. A person may feel normal while fat, inflammation, or even scarring develops. Conversely, feeling energetic after 2 weeks does not prove the liver has fully recovered. Blood tests and medical imaging, not mood, bathroom habits, or the appearance of your skin, are used to evaluate liver health. Your liver enzymes may not change noticeably in 14 days. Normal liver enzymes do not always rule out fatty liver, and elevated enzymes can have many causes besides sugar intake. If you already have abnormal results, do not use a home challenge as a substitute for medical evaluation. While the liver is adapting, other organs join the story. The pancreas may face smaller demands for insulin when meals contain less rapidly absorbed sugar. This does not mean the pancreas rests completely. It still responds to carbohydrate and protein. But fewer extreme glucose surges may reduce the need for unusually large insulin responses. Your fat tissue also changes its behavior. When insulin is lower between meals, stored fat can be released more readily. Whether that produces real fat loss depends on the overall energy balance across days and weeks. The body cannot burn a large amount of stored fat while continuously receiving more energy than it uses, even if the label says sugar-free. Your brain may experience fewer sharp rises and falls associated with sweet, low-fiber meals, but mental clarity is not guaranteed. If you replace sugar with balanced meals, you may feel steadier. If you replace it with hunger and anxiety, concentration may worsen. Your brain cares about stable fuel, sleep, hydration, and adequate nutrition, not loyalty to a dietary slogan. Your gut may benefit indirectly if sweet processed foods are replaced with beans, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and whole fruit. Their fibers feed a more diverse collection of intestinal microbes and support regular bowel function. But eliminating sugar while eating mostly meat, cheese, and highly processed keto snacks does not automatically create a healthier gut. By day 14, the biological switch revealed at the beginning is now easier to understand. It is not ketosis. It is not a detox reaction. It is not a sudden burst of autophagy. It is a change in metabolic direction. Less pressure for the liver to convert incoming sugar into fat, combined, if the rest of the plan is sound, with more opportunity to use and export existing fuel. For one person, that change may begin after the first sugar-free meals. For another, it may remain small because calories, refined starch, alcohol, and inactivity have not changed. There is no universal hour when every liver crosses the same threshold. So what might you realistically notice after 14 days? Cravings may be quieter. Energy between meals may feel more stable. You may consume fewer calories without deliberately counting them, especially if you eliminated sugary drinks. Waist size or body weight may decrease slightly. Blood glucose or triglycerides may improve in some people. Inside the liver, fat production may be lower, and liver fat may begin declining if the overall energy flow now favors that direction. What should you not expect? 14 days cannot reliably erase years of liver fat, reverse advanced scarring, cure diabetes, or guarantee normal blood tests. Meaningful improvement in metabolic health usually depends on habits that continue beyond a 2-week experiment. If excess weight is present, gradual and sustained weight loss can reduce liver fat and inflammation far more reliably than a brief challenge followed by a return to old habits. The first common mistake is quitting the wrong sugar. Some people throw away apples, berries, and plain milk while continuing to consume sweetened coffee, sauces, granola bars, and fruit juice. Start with added sugars, especially beverages and foods that deliver a large amount quickly. The second mistake is trusting the front of the package. Words like organic, natural, made with honey, or no high fructose corn syrup do not mean a food is low in added sugar. Honey, cane sugar, syrup, agave, and fruit juice concentrates can all contribute added sugars. The nutrition facts label includes a specific line for added sugars. Use that line instead of trying to memorize every marketing term. The third mistake is replacing sugar with another overload. A sugar-free snack can still be highly processed and calorie-dense. Large amounts of butter, cheese, refined starch, or processed meat do not give the liver a free pass. The liver responds to the entire dietary pattern, not a single missing ingredient. The fourth mistake is combining the challenge with aggressive fasting. If you are older, already losing muscle, or taking medication, suddenly removing sugar, skipping meals, and exercising hard can create dizziness, weakness, or low blood glucose. You do not need to starve to reduce added sugar. Adequate protein and resistance exercise are especially important for protecting muscle as you age. The fifth mistake is forgetting alcohol. The liver must process alcohol, and regular or heavy intake can promote fat accumulation and liver injury. Removing dessert while continuing several alcoholic drinks each evening may not produce the improvement you expect. A safer 14-day experiment starts with observation. For one normal day, write down every source of added sugar you consume. Include drinks, breakfast foods, snacks, condiments, and evening treats. Do not judge yourself. You are simply mapping the incoming traffic. Next, remove the largest liquid sources. Replace soda, sweet tea, energy drinks, and sugary coffee with water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea, or coffee with little or no added sugar. This step often creates the largest reduction with the least nutritional loss. Build meals around protein, high-fiber foods, and minimally processed ingredients. Protein might come from fish, eggs, poultry, beans, tofu, plain Greek yogurt, or other foods appropriate for you. Add vegetables, whole fruit, beans, or whole grains for fiber. Include reasonable portions of unsaturated fats from nuts, seeds, olive oil, or avocado. These foods do more than remove sugar. They help control hunger so that sugar does not return through the back door at night. Walk after meals when it is safe for you, and include muscle-strengthening activity appropriate for your ability. Even simple chair stands, wall push-ups, or resistance bands can give glucose a useful destination. If you have balance problems, heart symptoms, severe joint pain, or exercise restrictions, ask a health professional what is appropriate. If you take insulin or medications that can lower blood glucose, talk with your clinician before making a major dietary change. Your medication was matched to your previous eating pattern, and glucose levels may shift when sugar and calories fall. Do not stop or adjust medication on your own. People with diagnosed liver disease, unexplained weight loss, frailty, or a history of disordered eating also need individualized guidance. For long-term life, perfection is not required. The American Heart Association advises keeping added sugar to a small share of daily calories, roughly no more than 6 teaspoons a day for most women, and 9 for most men. A 14-day break can help you discover where sugar was hiding and which foods you truly miss. The useful question on day 15 is not, "Did I survive without sugar?" It is, "Which changes can I keep without sacrificing nutrition, muscle, or quality of life?" After 14 days, your liver is not brand new. But if added sugar was a major part of your diet, it may be working under less pressure. It may be making less new fat, handling glucose more efficiently, and moving in a healthier metabolic direction. The real transformation is not a dramatic detox. It is the quiet removal of a signal that kept telling your liver, meal after meal, that more energy had arrived than your body could use. If you try this 14-day experiment, share which source of added sugar was hardest for you to remove. And subscribe if you want more science-based explanations of what everyday habits are really doing inside your body.